You're watching WWMT, covering West Michigan. This is News 3.
Murder charges are filed in connection with the New Year's Eve hotel fire in San Juan, Puerto Rico. Hello, West Michigan. I'm Barry Shanley.
And I'm Lynn Emons. A maintenance worker at the DuPont Plaza Hotel has been charged with setting the fire that killed 96 people. Puerto Rican officials say he may not have acted alone. Peter Van Sant has our report.
Charged with 96 counts of murder, Hector Escudero Aponte this morning was arrested in San Juan for deliberately setting the New Year's Eve fire at the DuPont Plaza Hotel, the second deadliest fire in U.S. history. Do you feel you have your man?
Yes, we do. And the investigation is continuing.
More than 140 people were injured in the arson fire. 4 of the victims still have not been identified. Investigators say Escudero Aponte signed a sworn statement admitting that he started the fire by lighting a can of sterno fuel on top of a stack of furniture boxes in the hotel's ballroom. At a news conference this afternoon, officials said their suspect was a member of the Teamsters Union, which was involved in a bitter labor negotiation at the time of the fire.
He was an employee in the hotel at the moment of the incident.
Today's arrest announcement was welcome news to those who had to fight their way out of the DuPont Plaza amid flame, smoke, and bodies.
I'm glad that there's an arrest made. I hope that the proper people are brought to account for what's happened. Nothing can bring back lives. Nothing can take away the memories, the horrors. Our children were in the hotel for 4 hours.
Today's arrest is also important to Puerto Rico's economy, which is based largely on tourism. Many vacationers had canceled trips to the island, fearing the arsonist was still on the loose. Investigators say they expect to make at least 1 more arrest, possibly 2. Tonight, lawmen are hunting down those suspects. Peter Van Sant, CBS News, San Juan.
The suspect, Hector Escudero Aponte, could be sentenced to life in prison if he is convicted. He is being held tonight on $2.5 million bond. Investigations into the January 4th collision of an Amtrak passenger train with 3 Conrail locomotives revealed today that the Amtrak train was speeding. At a news conference, investigators disclosed that speed recorders show the Amtrak locomotive was traveling 23 miles over the speed limit of 105 miles per hour. The National Transportation Safety Board says the Conrail locomotive was also speeding, and they continue to focus their investigation on why the Conrail engineer did not heed a stop signal until that train was too close to stop.
A French reporter has been taken hostage in West Beirut. Police say Roger O was covering early morning activities of hostage negotiator Terry Waite when gunmen abducted him. The driver of Oak's car was beaten but was not kidnapped. Oak's photographer fought off the gunman and was able to escape unharmed. No group has taken responsibility for the kidnapping, and envoy Terry Waite is now on his 5th visit to Beirut to negotiate for the release of American hostages. Another network is reporting that Israeli intelligence worked most of 1986 to help develop a plan for U.S. commandos to rescue American hostages held in Lebanon. The network, which quotes diplomatic sources, says Israel was not able to locate the hostages. State Department officials say there has been a major breach of security by a U.S. guard at the American embassy in Moscow. The guard, who had top security clearance, allegedly became involved with a female Soviet KGB agent. Bill McLaughlin reports.
There's been a major breach of national security at the American embassy in Moscow, according to U.S. officials, who say this one is bad, very bad. CBS News has been told that the State Department believes a U.S. Marine who has served for the past 3 years as a guard at the American embassies in Moscow and Vienna worked for Soviet intelligence, the KGB. It is believed that Sergeant Clayton J. Lonetree allowed KGB agents into both embassies to steal top-secret documents and place bugs or listening devices in the offices of senior diplomats. It is said the Marine Guard made it easy for the KGB. Sergeant Lonetree had the keys for the safes where the most sensitive documents were kept. Reliable intelligence sources say Lonetree's case was right out of a cheap spy novel. He fell in love with a Russian girl who worked at the Moscow embassy. But she turned out to be what the KGB calls a swallow, an agent who uses sexual entrapment to recruit foreign help. Today, Lonetree's father said such behavior is out of character for his son.
What I have to say may be a disappointment to those fanciers of spy novels. This matter has been blown out of proportion.
Sergeant Lonetree is currently being held at Quantico Marine Base in Virginia, where the elite Marine Guards are trained. Next month, Lone Tree goes before the Marine equivalent of a grand jury to face charges of espionage and unauthorized removal of classified information. There is a bizarre footnote to this. In November 1985, Sergeant Lone Tree was given a special assignment. He was sent from Moscow to Geneva, Switzerland, to provide extra security for President Reagan's summit meeting with Soviet leader Gorbachev. Bill McLaughlin, CBS News, the State Department.
The 5 men arrested yesterday in connection with the Portage Police drug bust were all arraigned in court today. Portage Police spent 10 hours yesterday rounding up the 5 men after several months of investigation. Last night, they confiscated more than $18,000 in marijuana, cocaine, firearms, and cash. Inspector Tony Pandle says he is pleased with the arraignments.
The court has the same concerns that we do in the police department, being in as much as possible a safe, good community for people to work with, or live within, I should say.
Police say the bust took $500,000 in drug sales off the streets of Portage.
One drug enforcement agent put a price tag on the cocaine seized during a raid on a Van Buren County farm this summer, while another DEA officer ranked the coke as very high quality. News 3's Phil Hayes reports on the cocaine conspiracy trial.
The 3 Americans and 5 Colombians are charged in a grand jury indictment with manufacturing and possessing cocaine with the intent to distribute it. The men were arrested after a cocaine laboratory was discovered and seized in a pole barn on a Van Buren County farm. The defendants and their attorneys looked on as Peter Poole, a chemist with the Drug Enforcement Agency in Chicago, used a chart to explain to jurors what he found inside the pole barn. He told them, "What we have here is a cocaine conversion process." The Chicago-based chemist explained how the laboratory was used to transform the drug from cocaine hydrochloride to cocaine base and then back to cocaine hydrochloride, all in an effort to increase the purity and make it more marketable. Poole told the jurors the cocaine was of very high purity. About 16 of the 61 kilograms seized, each weighing 2.2 pounds, were 97% pure coke. The rest were 80 to 90% pure. Despite objection, U.S. District Judge Richard Enslin decided that the approximate worth of the cocaine was relevant information for the jury. Then Lloyd Clifton, a DEA agent periodically involved in undercover dope purchases, estimated a kilogram of cocaine to be worth about $50,000 at the time the lab was in operation. That puts a value on the 61 kilograms confiscated at just over $3 million, but the actual street value could be as much as $13 million. The prosecution will continue to question more witnesses tomorrow. In Kalamazoo, Phil Hayes, News 3.
Still to come, taking to the slopes on a wintry night.
And John Loftman with the latest on the weather.
The latest is tomorrow should be the last day of spring, at least for this January. A complete forecast is next.
The Daily 3 bonus payout. You never know when it'll hit. Get in the game. The Daily 3 game.
You're ready for new carpet, but you've waited. New York Carpet World has the perfect offer for you. January clearance sale prices plus 1 year free credit. That's right, the biggest savings, the best sale of the year, and credit costs you nothing. No interest, no finance charge for 12 full months. We've cut prices to cut inventory. Our off-season is the best season to get the carpet you want. Make your decision today. Don't miss the lowest sale prices plus 1 year free credit. We must end this offer Wednesday. Hurry to New York Carpet World.
There are times after an illness when you realize nothing is ordinary anymore. Everything is seen with new eyes. A feeling that's shared by the people who've been sick and the people who've helped heal them.
You're just trying to one-up Wall Street all the time, aren't you?
It looks like it.
They have a record.
Yeah, and dozens of new ones around the country. We didn't break our record here. It's 58 degrees set back in 1932, but it was plenty warm. Let's take a look at the numbers on today, and got all the way up to 44 degrees in Grand Rapids, which ironically was also the cold spot with 19 degrees. But the real weather story, I guess, is the fact that the temperatures have been rising around West Michigan right now. They're flirting with 40 degrees. In fact, in the last few minutes, the temperature has climbed in Muskegon up to 40 degrees, and Battle Creek is still looking at 39, which they had at 6 o'clock. So they're still very mild, and I'll explain just why in a moment. It's a simple explanation. With the relative humidity so high, barometer falling, the southwesterly winds are the key. They're blowing at 7 and gusting up to 25 miles per hour and bringing a lot of warm air in with them. If your hometown is Waterville, 37 degrees there and partly cloudy skies overhead. A beautiful night there, and quiet night across the nation. A little bit of rain falling in the lower Mississippi Valley into southern Texas, and otherwise not much else happening around the country. Here's the way it all shapes up on the surface map. High pressure to the south, low pressure to the north. The counterclockwise circulation around the low and the clockwise circulation around the high are bringing us our southwesterly gusts. We have a front bearing down on us by tomorrow. It should have crossed through, but won't be doing very much to change the weather for us. It'll shift the winds around a bit, bring us in a few clouds, but all in all, it's going to be a pretty nice day right through the day tomorrow. Let's take a look at some of those highs across the nation. Greenville, Spartanburg with 67, 43 in Marquette. Compare that with Detroit's 36 degrees. I guess the real weather story is here in Minneapolis, St. Paul, where it got up to 48 degrees, and that tied a record which was set back in 1891. Out west, we had the real warm temperatures. It wasn't a record in Montebello, California, but 78 degrees was the warmest reading we could find on the map, and 75 was a record again in Tucson. So those temperatures will be changing. As we look at the map, we can see that in our part of the country, a very mild day throughout most of the east, but those temperatures that we saw breaking records thanks to the Chinook winds in the west are going to be 10 to 30 degrees cooler by tomorrow. So it's going to be a change for them. Tomorrow for us, I think we'll see our change come around Thursday. For tonight, variable skies. We'll see our overnight low of above freezing, 33 degrees, thanks in part to those southwesterly winds. Tomorrow, mix of sun and clouds, 42 degrees on the thermometer. A really nice day again. Tomorrow night, partly cloudy skies, and the full Wolf moon of January, 25 degrees. Thursday, variable skies, and our high of only 34. Should be about 10 or 12 degrees cooler on Thursday than it was today, or will be tomorrow. And let's take a look at some of the snow. Yes, it is still winter. We're averaging right about where we should be, about halfway through. There are the low and the high snowfall totals. In 1951 and 52, we ended up with 12 feet of snow, but we're at 33 and 62.
Yeah, that I find surprising. It just doesn't seem right.
I know, it doesn't. We kind of get it in heavy batches, I think.
Okay. All right, John.
Sure.
Thank you. Well, life is full of challenges, and for those with a handicap, the challenges are even greater. Tonight, members of the American Amputee Foundation took to the ski slopes to prove that nothing is impossible if you try. News 3's Cheryl Garner has more.
All right. They refuse to let their disabilities stand in the way. Being minus an arm or minus a leg is no big deal to them. Certainly no reason not to take part in the sport they love, even though it is challenging to most and even more challenging to them.
Watching a couple other people do it, you know, with just one leg like me, you know, sort of helped me along doing it. So I figured if they can do it, well, I can sure try.
The American Amputee Foundation and the Bittersweet Ski Lodge sponsor free skiing to any handicapped individual who comes on Tuesday nights. And these special handicapped skiers have a message to others in similar situations who would rather sit at home and do nothing than try.
Get out and do it. All it takes is a want to enjoy yourself. Because of your handicap, that's no reason to sit in a chair.
When it comes to skiing, there are certain turns you can make better with the loss of a leg, than you can with the loss of an arm. But it's been a wonderful sport, and I've been on these things for crowding 30 years.
The special skis make it easier for those with just one leg, but the key, they say, is to have the courage to take on the challenge and refuse to give up. As one skier put it, if you can't do it with two legs, then do it with one. In Otsego, Cheryl Garner, News 3.
Inspirational story. Coming up, more help for AIDS victims in Michigan.
And causing the difference between life and death.
It's your Greater Michigan Ford dealers' official winter forecast. And the forecast calls for a blizzard of savings on Ford Ranger trucks. Now, with 3.9% financing or $500 cash back direct from Ford, or 3.9% financing on